We will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call?
Trustee Anson. Here. Trustee Doro. Here. Trustee Myers. Here. Trustee Landwehr.
Here.
Trustee Swenson.
Here.
Trustee Wallschlager. Here. President Vanderstel.
Here. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Wallschlager.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have tonight a special presentation by the Arrowhead High School DECA students. You guys please can step forward, identify yourselves, and take it away. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Hi everyone, I'm Abby Fickle. I am the current president of Arrowhead DECA. Some other things that I do in DECA, I am also a 2-year member of the Wisconsin DECA Leadership Council, so I've been working with the state leadership. Additionally, I have been a national DECA Direct reporter, which is a magazine that's published worldwide, so I've been one of the student reporters writing articles for them. And
Hello everyone, I'm Emma Hoffman. I am the Vice President of Community Service and Public Relations at Arrowhead DECA. I am a first-year member of Wisconsin State Leadership Council for DECA. I was also a national DECA reporter this year and have competed with DECA for 3 years.
so tonight we're going to talk to you a little bit about what DECA is, what Arrowhead DECA has been doing in the community, some of our community service things we've been up to this year, the impact we feel that we've had on students, and just briefly touch on a little bit of our future goals.
So for anyone who may not know what DECA is, we feel that we are best explained and most concisely explained by our mission statement, which is, we, the members of the Arrowhead DECA chapter, hereby pledge to utilize our leadership skills to enrich the community through service and dedication. We prepare marketing students for future endeavors in the workforce through real-life experiences. We feel that we accomplish this mission statement through competition, our different business and marketing classes offered at Arrowhead High School, and the community service events that our chapter members participate in throughout the Hartland community.
Speaking of some of those community service events, our biggest and by far most well-known event that we put on is Hawkfest. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of it here, but Hawkfest is a festival that Arrowhead High School holds right around homecoming in the fall. We invite different businesses from the local area, and it's really an opportunity for community members of all ages to come and celebrate Hartland and Arrowhead as in a way that allows us to give back to those around us. This year, we were able to give back to HAWS, MDA, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and Make-A-Wish. We donated $2,000 to both HAWS and MDA, and we were actually able to donate $7,000 to Make-A-Wish to make Isabel, a local girl's wish, come true. In addition, Hawkfest, we feel, really facilitates a sense of togetherness for the community and our students, and really gives students some really great real-life experience with working with local businesses and partnering with them to raise sponsorships and help those around them.
So in addition to Hawkfest, our chapter members also participate in a few smaller but equally important community service events throughout the rest of the year. So one thing that we participate in year-round is a pen pal system with senior citizens in the community. So chapter members at Arrowhead DECA are paired up with some members who are in assisted living homes throughout the community, and they send letters and holiday cards throughout the year at Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and just at times when we feel that it would be beneficial to spread a little extra cheer. So this really facilitates some different community relationships between our students and other members of the Hartland area community. We also participated in something that we like to call our pumpkin delivery system. So for anyone who has a business in the area, you may have noticed some special seasonal cheer around Halloween. Arrowhead DECA did drop off a large number of decorated pumpkins throughout the community at local businesses and local nursing homes. So this is a great way that we develop connections with different community members and businesses, and also spread some Halloween cheer through the fall. Lastly, we participate in Trick or Can, which is a relatively unique, different food drive that we take part in. So throughout the month of October, our chapter members will send out some different notifications about trick or can, and at one specific day throughout the month, we go through and make it really easy for community members to donate food, and we pick up all the different food contributions throughout the area. We donated hundreds of cans to the Hartland food pantry this year. So those are the things that we've accomplished this year already. Something that we will also be participating in the upcoming months is the Polar Plunge. So this is a great way for us to fundraise and give back to the community through the Special Olympics, and so we'll be focusing on our fundraising efforts for that through the rest of this month, and then taking the plunge on February 17th at the Milwaukee Zoo. So that's another way that we like to support some very special causes in the Hartland area.
Additionally, we really feel that Arrowhead DECA and DECA in general as an organization has an immense impact on the students that participate as well as the other businesses that are involved with us. For students, it's an incredible opportunity to allow for some networking with like-minded peers, other people who will be continuing on with them into the workforce. Additionally, it really can be beneficial to help foster communication skills, public speaking through competition and different presentations that we may have. Professional business experience is also gained from working with businesses through HawkFest, real-life experience that way, and also through our competitions which focus on mock business scenarios in which students will be given a situation and then act in a professional manner. And lastly, we really feel that Arrowhead DECA provides an amazing opportunity for all students who are involved to gain leadership abilities and help lead things, whether it be through different initiatives and different projects that we've been working on throughout the year, in which we have different students from our general chapter be on boards for those things and really spearhead these efforts to gain different leadership skills.
So today we wanted to meet with you to advocate a little bit for DECA and other similar student-led organizations. So Abby and I both can speak firsthand to the experience that DECA has given us and how it has helped us grow, in addition to the positive impact that we've seen it had on the Hartland community. So it's super important for us to speak with you and other groups in the community to spread awareness for DECA and our mission. It's a Wisconsin DECA initiative as well as a international DECA initiative that we are hoping to accomplish this year. So we are so thankful that you guys have given us this opportunity to speak with you today, and wanted to know if you guys had any questions for us about DECA or its impact on the community or the students.
Tell me what I always get with it. DECA.
Yes.
What is that?
DECA stands for Distributive Educational Clubs of America, which kind of is...
Half of it right. I wondered what the first part was. I figured that. Okay.
Yes.
What's a competition like? When you go to I know you said you go through competitions, and it sounds like there's a bunch of different items that may come up.
Yeah.
But can you explain one or two of them and just what that's like when you go to a competition?
Yeah, definitely. So there's 3 levels of competition for DECA. The first one we just had a few weeks ago, districts. So at districts, you take a test before you go. It can be on a variety of different clusters depending on what event you're registered in. So there's marketing clusters, hospitality clusters, management clusters, and then just a general business cluster. So students will take 100 question exam before they go to the competition, and then on the day of the competition, they participate in 2 different role play scenarios, either individually or as a team with another person. So basically what happens is you go into a room, they give you a scenario, and you have 10 minutes to read over the scenario, write down any notes that you may have, and then it will, depending on the different cluster that you're in, it could be related to food management or hotels, it could be related to marketing communications, or even travel and tourism. So there's tons of different opportunities for students of really any different interest level. And then they go into a little meeting with the judge one-on-one, and they'll present their ideas for solving whatever problem was presented to them in the situation, and then they move on. And those role plays compiled with the test are how you're scored. Then at the state level, you can also do projects, which I'll let Emma.
Yes, so then at the state level, you also, once again, participate in a role play scenario. So similarly to districts, you kind of repeat that process at the state level with a larger number of competitors and some more experienced judges. But then what also makes state more unique is that you prepare one or more projects. So these projects can be anything from marketing plans for different companies or research plans, which are really unique because they give the students an opportunity to work with a local business and see what they feel that the business is lacking promotionally or socially, stuff like that, and create a plan of action for that local business. In addition, you can create projects on different initiatives that your school chapter has participated in throughout the year. So things like our school-based enterprise, which is our school store at Arrowhead High School, can be talked about in a project, or some of our different community service events such as Hawk Fest or marketing nights or Wish Week. All of these things can be included in projects as well, and then you compete at that state level by presenting those to significant business leaders in the state and are judged there. And then from there on, you can qualify to go to internationals, which I'll let Abby jump back to.
So Internationals is this huge convention of DECA students from all over the world, mostly the United States, but all over the world. It's a really great opportunity to meet people from so many different states. Emma and I have both gotten the opportunity to go the past 2 years. The location is held on like a 4-year rotational cycle. So the first year Emma and I went was our sophomore year 2 years ago, and it was in Anaheim, California. And so we got to go and present our plans there and compete, and it was a truly amazing experience. Last year it was held in Atlanta, Georgia, and again, we had an amazing time. We got to learn about different businesses. Lots of businesses and colleges come in and present to the competitors there because obviously these are business students that colleges are looking for. And we really had an incredible time. And then this year, it's going to be held in Orlando, Florida, so Em and I are both really hoping on making it so we can go enjoy some nice sunny weather. Yes. So.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any other questions? You guys keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you so
That's
much.
awesome.
Well, thank you so much for letting us present to you today.
Well, thank you, Gail.
Have a great night and stay warm.
And don't forget, someday you can also offer to, hop on board with your local government also.
Yes,
moving
we will
forward.
keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, thank you very much for that presentation. It's appreciated. At this time, we have public comments for items that are not on the agenda. If anybody would like to come and speak to items that are not on the agenda. Since there are no comments regarding that, we'll start with our first item, which is a consideration of a motion to approve the special village board minutes of January 12th, 2019, and the village board minutes of the January 14th, 2019 meeting.
Also,
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is consideration of a motion to approve the vouchers for payment in the amount of $286,158.
I so moved that we paid bills for $286,158.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the vouchers. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
That motion is carried. Next item we have are the bartenders' operators licenses with a term ending June 30th, 2020. Those would be for Tamala Halsey, Amy Benson, Jordan Kovacic, Jameson Williamson, Sophia Drozdick.
I so moved.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the licenses? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Next, we have the actions related to consideration of an issuance of a Class A liquor license for the premises located at 202 North Avenue. This is the Flower Garden. The agent is Daniel Williamson.
Also moved.
You need to have a public hearing first, so
I will at this time open the public hearing regarding that Class A liquor license for the flower shop, Jasmine's Flower Shop. Would anybody like to come and speak in this public hearing regarding that Class A liquor license?
When you buy something, really, I don't want to got a liquor license on that, but you go to buy flour, you're gonna have a drink with it, or that's
so let's
People find a lot of reasons to drink.
let's just clarify.
Cold weather's a
It's a
reason to
Class
drink.
A. It's a
Yeah.
Class A license, so it's an away license. And what it is as it's been explained to me, they want the ability to, and I think the previous owner had one as well. They want the ability to be able to sell, for example, wine with a gift basket.
okay.
Oh,
And in order to do that, they have to have a Class A license.
But not actually drink it on premises.
Correct.
Right.
It's a Class A away, Class B bar.
It'd be like a wrapped up gift basket and then right when they open it though.
Well, that
they do.
makes
well, that
sense,
makes,
okay.
yeah, that makes
Where
a lot
does
of
it say on
sense.
here that it's
It didn't make
Oh,
much
wait. It
sense.
says Class A.
That's what Class A is.
That's what
Oh, I
Class A
gotcha.
is. That's just a trick to remember what A means. A
Okay,
is
I
away.
gotcha.
A
Okay.
is a retail store, essentially.
If necessary, we can explain the, each one, but there's the A, B, and the C. It's,
know.
but
Oh,
A
yeah.
means they
Okay.
buy it there and they take it away.
That's not a
C's
liquor
meaning
license.
you can
Any,
And it's
sit
only for
there.
wine? Carrie.
It's not, they can sell, it's a combined, so they can sell anything, but it's primarily, as I understand it, for wine.
Okay.
Any other comments in this public hearing regarding this Class A? liquor
I
license?
hesitated to ask on that, but I'm,
You didn't hesitate very long.
So the
makes
existing people have that license already?
It's my understanding, right, Darlene, they do?
I
Yeah.
believe they did too.
That's the flower
That
garden?
I was told,
Yeah.
yes.
Correct.
Okay, so they're
The
just,
business was recently sold.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, there's not a limit on these, so that has nothing to do with any of that stuff.
Correct, no
Correct.
limit on A licenses.
Yep. All right. Anyone else? Well, at this time, since we have nobody else talking on it and coming forward to speak, I think it would be proper to close the public hearing. And Trustee Myers, now you can continue with what you were saying before the public hearing.
Give you a motion.
can I make a motion that we approve the license?
I would approve that.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve that license. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That license will be granted. Next item on the agenda, here to present, we have the Waukesha County Center for Growth and a consideration of a motion to approve a one-year contract renewal of the Waukesha County Center for Growth agreement.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Pass a couple things out here. Thank you. I'm Tim Casey. I'm Director of Economic Development for the Waukesha County Center for Growth. Had the pleasure of being here about a year ago and appreciate the support that the village has given to the organization previously. I just want to go over a couple of things quickly. I'm sure we'd all like to get home at some point tonight, given the weather and what's coming.
Warm up.
We wish.
Spring.
But just to remind everybody, again, you've been a supporter of the organization these last 2 years, very much appreciated. We are a 501c3, not-for-profit organization, created solely for the purpose of providing economic development services in Waukesha County and in conjunction with the municipalities in Waukesha County. I'm not going to go through all of this. It talks about the things that we do under each bullet point. Happy to answer any questions, but again, I'm going to keep my remarks short. We do this with a four-person staff, myself as Director of Economic Development. I believe most of you know Robin Lutke, who is our Director of Talent Development, and has been with us for a year and a half, Robin? 2 years? Okay. Robin splits her time between the Center for Growth and the Waukesha County Business Alliance, but heads up all of our talent development efforts. Major focal point for us. The second publication that I handed out is an updated workforce development strategy for this year. And as you look through that, what we hear both at the Waukesha County Business Alliance, which is a 1,200 member countywide chamber of commerce, and at the Economic Development Corporation, where we meet with in excess of 500 businesses each year, is that the number one issue for most companies remains labor force. How can you help me find, attract, develop, retain my labor force? So we've put resources to that effort, and we work with companies and school districts on a daily basis, helping folks find the workforce that they're looking for. In the center of the publication here, you'll see that runs a whole gamut of experiences for young people as they're considering their career options, from industry exposure to experience to internships and co-ops to youth apprenticeships and dual enrollments. And then as young people decide whether they're going to get right into the workforce out of high school, or go into the military, or go into technical college, or start working and working towards college, or go off to college, all are good, viable options. But we view one of our jobs as being, again, working with both school districts and employers to expose young people to that range of opportunities that are available to them. So we do that all around the area of develop, attract, and retain talent. And again, I'd be happy to answer any questions or go into more detail. The brochure, we're getting rid of the old ones. We'll have new ones shortly. But the other staff person that you see down here, Scott Alderton, was one of our small business consultants, has moved on and gone back to a technology company that he owns in Milwaukee, and concentrating his efforts there. Sorry to lose Scott, but the good news is Lucy Wallschlager, who started with us March of last year, is doing a phenomenal job as a small business consultant. The other picture that you'll see here next year, or in the next brochure very shortly, is Annie Hagee, and we've recently taken Annie and allocated a portion of her time, again, to the talent development space, and especially working with Robin on the interface between the school districts. We have 15 school districts in Waukesha County. We work closely with all of them, including Arrowhead, and the businesses. So, for instance, one of the things we've done for many, many years is a program called Schools to Skills, where kids are exposed to manufacturing opportunities. We're now extending that into healthcare. I understand Arrowhead was one of the first districts to participate in that program, and we're extending into the building trades. Just last Thursday at Milwaukee Tool, we had young people from 6 different school districts, including Merton and Northlake middle schools. Kids at the middle school age came to Milwaukee Tool. There were about 30 other vendors there, everybody from the building trade unions to contractors to companies that are design build firms, just a whole gamut of people in the skilled trade section and sector, and expose kids to a lot of hands-on opportunities to get, again, a better appreciation of what the opportunities are in the skilled trades. So we're working that on the manufacturing side, on the healthcare side, and in the skilled building trades, and it's something that we spend a lot of time on. The last thing I'll hand out for you here is our annual report for 2018. Thank you. And I'm pleased to say that 2.5 years in, just again refresh folks' memories, there was a predecessor organization that was allowed to lapse, if you will, at the end of 2014. It was not a financially sustainable model. 40 people in a task force from all different sectors in Waukesha County were brought together to look at, if we're going to do economic development, how do we do it and do it right. So we're 2.5 years in, and again, with the support of you and the other municipalities in Waukesha County, I'm happy to report that we had the kind of year that I hoped we were capable of and that I thought we were capable of. So what we tried to do in this year's annual report is just tell the stories of the companies we worked with. And you can see folks who've located in Waukesha County for the first time, folks at OFP Ingredients bringing a vacated dead Lake Country Foods plant in Oconomowoc back to life. Several of the small businesses we worked with, one of the big ones being Milwaukee Tool. Again, they've been phenomenal to work with on now their 3rd major expansion of their corporate headquarters. They've added over 1,000 people in the last 7 or 8 years. They're on the precipice of adding another 350 people as they finish another 3-story building on their corporate campus. And then after we tell the stories of the companies that we've worked with, and this is just a sample of them, we give you the annual numbers. And we show you what our goals were going into the year, and we tell you what our actuals were. And again, I'm very pleased to report that last year we had the opportunity to work with 22 companies that had capital expenditures in excess of $66 million, that created 460 jobs and retained another 492 jobs, just under our goal. We helped those companies to apply for and receive tax credits from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation of just over $8 million, obviously dollars that came in to benefit those companies here in Waukesha County. I personally met with 120 companies. Our small business development staff met with 146 clients and a few more businesses than that. We worked with a lot of folks in job fairs and in the other opportunities we have to expose young people to career opportunities. Helped a number of companies in Waukesha County to bring on board 64 folks from the Joseph Project, which you may have heard about, and I can go into that if anybody has a question. And then again, exposed 2,500 students to career-based learning opportunities through the variety of programs that Robin and Annie have created in conjunction with the school districts and that we continue to run. And help those school districts and others to apply for and receive almost $400,000 in grants to support some of those programs. So again, we think it was a good year. We want to continue. On the back, you'll see you're one of the 13 municipal partners that have been a part of this. We hope that that will continue. I can report that new this year are the Village of Butler, which recently signed on, and the Village of Eagle. And there is, I'm going to be in front of their board again in another month or two. They put it in the budget, and there was an administrative snafu and they need to catch up on something wasn't agended, if you can believe that. But we're going to be back in front of them, and I think they're going to be coming on board. I can also tell you that the city of Delafield, both the mayor and the public works director, had us in the budget and wanted to move forward. They had a difficult budget year, and we were taken out during board deliberations. But we're very happy to be working with the 13 municipal partners that we are. A quick snapshot of what we've got coming next year is to continue to do the kind of work that we've been doing. Obviously, we do that in close cooperation and a working relationship with both M7, the regional economic development entity that has been very involved in some of these projects, especially the larger ones, and with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. WDC's entire Milwaukee team met with our board last month, and we just had a chance to refresh everybody's memory on what everybody does and how we work closely together. M7, the director of corporate attraction and expansion, will be in next month to talk with our board. And it's a very close working relationship, as it is with each of the municipalities. So typically on some of the larger projects, all of us are at the table. And you can also see our board of directors, which we've recently added 3 new folks, very experienced individuals, and we're now up to 19 folks on our board of directors. One of those being J. Mack from Town Bank, which has major operations here in the village and has been one of our partners. And to that end, this is the last thing I have, we are in the process of developing what was called a collaborative fund, and we now call the GROW Fund, which stands for Generating Resources and Opportunities in Waukesha County. We have met with 5 banks and asked them to consider contributions to a fund that will help them to satisfy Community Reinvestment Act requirements that they have under federal regulation. And we believe that 3 or 4 of those banks are firming up those contributions, and in the very near future, we're going to be in a position to announce the creation of a fund that will provide low-interest loans for business expansion. So whether we're working with a manufacturer or some other business opportunity that can lead to job creation, it'll be another source of funds, non-federal funds, which is important when you get into construction projects, but it'll be another source of funds that we'll be able to bring to the table to help companies expand. So that's all I had. Sorry, I went a little longer than I meant to, but happy to answer any questions.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I think you're doing a great job for the county. I think you should stay in the county. Can you mention one business in Hartland here that you helped?
Yeah, I can
How
mention.
about 2?
Well, I can mention that we've met with both Town Bank and Westbury Bank. Westbury Bank talking specifically about a prospect that they're working with for a major office expansion. I can tell you that I met with a company in the machine tool and die making space that we were exploring opportunities with Foxconn for them to be a potential supplier to Foxconn. We met with representatives of Foxconn.
We have a problem with labor out here.
And I can tell you that, excuse me, just to finish answering your first question, Lucy and her predecessors, there were 3 people over the course of the start of last year in the small business consulting role. Now it's Lucy, she's doing a bang-up job. Had 7 small business clients in Hartland last year. I can't tell you who those folks are, and my apologies for that. I didn't have time to coordinate with Lucy, but we will get that information to you.
Okay, so you worked and counseled with them, but
Right.
did you generate any business for them?
My apologies, I don't have that answer for you. I need to talk with Lucy, who's on vacation right now, and I need to get you that information.
I was just listening to your report again. That was my question last time. We got this countywide program, and there's little Hartland.
Yep.
And you got all these other communities that are getting this stuff, and we're throwing $6,600 out there, and I still talk to business people, and they say, hey, we don't have people. We don't have people here. And I believe that you were talking about last year, you were going to be trying to get some kind of a bus service or something into the community, and I had yet to see that. But I mean, we talked to the bank too, First Wisconsin State Bank and the village, and we arranged through the bid district to give special loans and to different people
Right.
without any help from you guys. And so I guess I'm looking, I think you're doing a great job in the county, but I just don't see a lot of those fingers in here in developing it, because I don't see any changes here. Am I wrong? I mean, what this past year, what benefit did we get? Did we get $6,600 worth of additional business for one of our businesses? I don't know.
Well, again, I'd have to get back to you, and my apologies. We're wrapping up the end of last year, and we're off to a strong start, and everybody's running pretty hard. But I will get with Lucy and get you the detail on the 7 small business clients that she's worked with. The company that I worked with is a potential Foxconn supplier. We'll have to see where that goes. I think one of the things that we can do and we need to do going forward is we've met with your administrator and like to meet with him again in the future, but also work with the interest in the business community here. One of the things we need to do is as soon as we've got that grow fund established, which I anticipate happening in the next month, I want to get that information out to all of our partners, the local chambers, the local communities, and say, folks, here's the grow fund. Here's $200,000 to $250,000 at below market interest rates that can take a secondary position that can help you finance your business expansion. And that can be a manufacturer, or it could be somebody new coming to Main Street. That's going to create, a handful of jobs. We'll make them eligible for the funds that we've got. And the advantage is they're not federal funds. Federal funds bring strings attached to them, especially when you're trying to do build-out. That's a new tool. It's taken us a couple of years to get it together. I think we had to establish the relationship that we have with folks and the trust before folks were ready to step up and make that kind of commitment. We should have it in place in the next 30 to 60 days.
I have a couple
Yes.
questions. First of all, do you do any, besides asking for money from the municipalities,
Yeah.
do you do any fundraising?
We haven't really done that yet. I mean, the model that was initially put together by the task force that created this entity said, okay, let's ask for $250,000 from the county. The county executive was one of the leaders of that, and that's how much we receive from them each year. And then the rest of the formula was based on population and percentage of business park space that folks have. We do anticipate that there will probably be, and again, I don't do cute, I don't do coy. There is at least one major foundation in Waukesha County that we are going to be approaching about the Grow Fund, and we believe that there's a good likelihood that they'll make a contribution to the fund, which again gets out there to help lend businesses.
You're not specifically holding
No,
fundraising?
we don't,
Okay.
and we've been approached by folks who say, hey, we can help you raise funds. We don't want to get into that mode. We do anticipate some other major corporate entities that we think would be supportive of economic development financing, and we'll probably be going down that road in the next year.
My second question is your outreach to local chambers.
Yep.
To coordinate business expansion, retention, and recruitment efforts.
Yes.
Have you actually contacted our Hartland Chamber of
Yes,
Commerce?
yeah, we have reached out to all of the local chambers.
And have you been able to do anything with retention or recruitment for members for them, or how have you
No,
helped the Hartland
we've
Chamber?
not. We've extended an invitation in the 2 years that I've been here 4 times, to all of the local chambers to see if they could come in, join us for lunch, talk about what we do, get the word out. We've had 5 or 6 chambers avail themselves of that opportunity. I don't believe that Hartland has made one of those meetings yet. We happy to get together with them at any time and talk about ways that we can work with them.
So you don't actually go there and meet with the chamber, you expect them to come to you?
Like I say, we've asked, I think it's 11?
I'm happy to answer some
Yeah,
of
go
these
ahead.
questions too, if you're all okay with that.
You just have to step up.
For the chambers, so the Waukesha County Center for Growth hosts a quarterly roundtable for all Chamber of Commerce executives. The next one we have coming up, I believe, is February 8th. All chamber executives are asked that they are allowed to come. It's a free forum for those executives. We offer lunch for them. It's a chance for them to promote their chamber, talk about what's happening in their municipality, share ideas, and collaborate between one another. At that time, too, those chambers will present to other chambers about different programs that are happening. So it's very common to see Sussex maybe actually present at New Berlin. That's opportunities for the small business consultants that are within the Center for Growth to go and present to those chambers so that they can be inside the doors of the Chamber of Commerce to offer their consulting services, which are free of charge. One of the things that Tim talked about was Lucy. She is a member of our staff. Her opportunities that she has are complementary to businesses. So she has worked with 7 clients. Lake Country Cabinets is one of those clients. She's also worked with Price Engineering. She's also worked with United Press. Those are 3 operations here in the village of Hartland. She can go inside the doors. She can help them from operating expenses to labor expenses. those are types of messages that we want to get out, because that is essentially a collaboration with UW Extension Program that can help those chambers continue to grow their membership, and that's services that they can use. So what we would love is for the Hartland Chamber of Commerce or the Sussex Chamber of Commerce or Pewaukee to be able to work with Lucy so that she can work with their members, and that helps them grow their membership by offering those services for their members. So
It's a concern, though. You got 13 members, you've got all this money, seems like most of the money's tied up in administrative fees. But if I had 13 customers, 13 chambers, and I had 12 months a year, I definitely would go to see each one of those personally, rather than have them come to up to see you guys.
Yeah, excuse me. I'll make that call tomorrow. We have been invited to speak, and we have spoken at, and it's been myself and Lucy and her predecessor.
Where?
I've spoken at Sussex, I've spoken at Menominee Falls, I've spoken at Dousman,
We
I've
live
spoken
in
at
Hartland.
Commonwealth. Yeah, I've never gotten a call
and we've offered.
from the Hartland Chamber. I'll call the Hartland Chamber tomorrow.
Well, I just, we're a customer. We've been a good customer of yours, and we
Right.
haven't got and it seems like,
We got a call from the Rotary. We spoke to the Rotary, but
We-
we'll make a call tomorrow.
We have spoken twice to the Lake Country Rotary. We have invited them in. We've come out here several times. We do invite Heartland to come to us. We'll come to them. Chambers.
I'll make the call tomorrow.
Municipality-wise, obviously, Tim has had opportunities to work with the village administrator on a couple of projects thus far. One, just recently, that I know you guys were kind of told about a little bit. So we have had those opportunities to work with local municipalities. I did want to comment on one about the busing, because I just wanted to close that loop with you, Trustee Myers. So we obviously know that we live in a suburban community. We know that southeastern Wisconsin makes up for 72% of our labor force in the state of Wisconsin. That's huge. There's a huge untapped resource of available employees that we would like to be able to come and work, live, and play out in our communities. I'm all for it. If you come up with ideas, I'd love to chat about it, and let's collaborate and get something down. One of the ways that we are trying to look at doing that is servicing a process called the Joseph Project. And if you look inside of the workforce development strategy, there is a byline, I believe it's next to Denali Ingredients, maybe the fourth page or so.
It's in the annual report.
Or annual report, excuse
Right.
me, I misspoke. That's an opportunity for Waukesha County to be able to utilize a skilled labor force and a re-skilled labor force to come out and work in manufacturers. We obviously know that Waukesha County is made up of the most manufacturers in southeastern Wisconsin, and that's what we're home to. So we want to be able to continue to service that environment for our community. And so we have now started working with the Joseph Project, which is what you were kind of alluding to with the buses. That's what we talked about last time, where we were starting to bus out individuals that have gone through reskilling opportunities, some soft skills and some hard skills, some financial literacy classes, and they're ready to work. And so they're now coming out. We've had 4 manufacturers take 26 of those individuals from the New Berlin area. And I've had some conversations with the manufacturers that are in your corporate park behind Piggly Wiggly that are also interested in that. So what do? We get them in front of Pastor Smith, who runs the Greater Praise Church down in Milwaukee. They meet and they sign some contracts with him, because what he does is he takes these individuals once they've gone through a 2-week process. They've had some actual training, they've looked at their resume, and they've done some interviews, and he physically puts them on buses, and he buses them out to Hartland, Oconomowoc, New Berlin, Sussex. He brings them out there, and then he picks them up. And as they're coming out to those manufacturers, they are receiving the word and the mission that the Greater Praise Church is hoping that they can withstand in themselves. They're understanding critical life skills, and they're being part of your community. And so it's starting to work. So now what we want to do is get them in front of more manufacturers. Well, it takes more than just one manufacturer in a community to sign up. So I would ask that, I agree with you, labor is huge out in our community. We need to continue quality of life, and we need to continue to retain it so that our community can grow. Personally, it's personal for me because I live in the village of Hartland. However, if you've got manufacturers and you've had conversations with them, please pick up a phone, call Tim, tell Dave, tell me, tell President Vanderstel, who have connections to us, and talk to us on a regular basis with the Center for Growth, because I'd love to connect them with this process of the Joseph Project, because it's working.
well, then it goes back to what I said earlier. we have to have our people contact you, but we're giving you money to contact
No,
us.
you don't always have to do that because we're also talking to those manufacturers too.
There's a bunch of unemployed people in Waukesha also, I believe. It's a little bit
Yes.
closer to Milwaukee.
Sure.
But we're worried about a bus down in Milwaukee to come all the way out here.
Well, we want to make
But
sure
there's
that the
nothing from
manufacturers, no, I would agree with you. And I don't dilute your comment whatsoever. We want to make sure that the manufacturers are comfortable. They're not going to just go, I mean, you're all hired someone. You have to believe in the process. And so they believe in this process of the Joseph Project, and it has some wins behind it. It's a process that Senator Johnson has stamped and that he's a part of. They believe in the foundation of what these employees are getting, and then they trust them. And then they can create a culture, and they can keep their manufacturers going. So we have to continue to spread that, and we're doing that. I would say we're working with those manufacturers to do that. But I would agree with you. The more we can be in front of the community is definitely a win-win for all. I definitely would agree with you.
One of the things that you said was you would like to get some more manufacturers on board with you, or do they have to actually sign up to be a member and actually
No.
pay?
No.
All of our services are provided at no cost.
So ABC manufacturer can just call you up and
Yes.
say, okay, I
Yep.
need
Yep.
6 people to load stuff on our truck.
Call us and we're gonna figure out a plan. I'm gonna come inside.
We're not a staffing agency
Right,
or
I'm
an
not a
employment
placement.
agency, but we know all of the staffing agencies and employment agencies that are out there, and we know all of the schools that are out there.
So what is it, I guess I'm
We help-
confused.
We help them do the roadmap to how do they get the people that they're looking for.
So is a business interested there's several different ways to approach it. So if I were to walk into, your company, and you say, okay, I'm having a hard time, I need to find skilled 6 people. And I'd say, okay, great. Let's walk the map. What kind of people are you looking for? What have you done? What's not working for you? What can we do? Where can we go? And then that's when I'm gonna start making some calls. So you need to be plugged into WCTC and you need to be inside the doors. Are you interested in being a part of, if you're in the Village of Hartland, Arrowhead, and you want to be doing curriculum-based projects so that they start servicing right in? Have you been connected with youth apprenticeship opportunities? Do you know all of the opportunities? I don't have the expectation that I know them all, but I can guarantee you, between the 3 of us and then the rest of the staff at the Business Alliance, we know a pretty good
Well, and I
both
tell
of
you,
them.
I don't want a high school student, I want somebody who's, let's say my jobs, I need college graduates with at least a bachelor's degree to do whatever. And I know.
We got a ton of those. I'll find those.
Okay, but why would I go to you versus a staffing agency? Or,
Most of the staffing agencies work with us too. That's a great question. The staffing agencies know that the business community is plugged into economic development. It's called economic development
so
in
for
that
our
sense.
fee, would we not have to pay that staffing agency anything?
You wouldn't, we have a program that we work with staffing agencies on. So what I would do is I would connect you with the right resource at the right time, what you need. Or I would physically go out and say, here's UWM, here are those people at UWM, and you could bypass the staffing agency, and you would be connected straight with UWM, which you wouldn't get from a staffing agency.
But if this person's already working through, let's say, John Smith is already working through ABC Staffing Agency, and I want him, do I still have to pay them if I've talked to you?
Well, yes, because you've serviced a
If you're
contract
working
with
with
the
a staffing
staffing
agency,
agency.
yeah. There are a whole realm of staffing agencies.
Yeah.
There's a whole realm of temp to perm agencies. There's all of the resources at WCTC. There's the WOW Workforce Development Board. The person who runs that organization, Laura Catherman, now works just for the board, no longer runs the Workforce Development Center, is housed in our offices, sits right next to Robin. We're aware of all of the different resources that are out there. So when, you read one of those stories and a company is in the process of moving from Bellevue, Washington to Waukesha County, happens to live in Pewaukee, happen to find a space in Pewaukee, and says, can you help me find sewers who know how to sew flags? Our answer was, let's get started, let's find the help that you need, and we now have a situation where that company has started operations, has a foreman, has a 4-person, and has 2 sewers who are beginning production. They want to eventually move the whole manufacturing operation here and have in excess of 20 people. Labor force is tight, folks, and you got to work every channel and every resource that's out there. And our job is to work with people. We don't charge them anything. We don't charge them for small business consulting. We don't charge them for talent, referrals. We don't charge them for the work that I do with them. We don't charge them for helping putting their finances together. We help them grow. That's our mission.
Do businesses call you and say, hey, I've got a business and it's a manufacturer, where should I go in the county, or do they come to you?
They do, yeah, they do that at times, yes. Usually, folks will have some sense of geographically where they want to be within the county.
Well, the statistics for Waukesha County are pretty darn good, if you read the paper.
Right, well, yeah, and we've got access to a commercial database. Used to be called Excelligent. That organization went out of business at the end of 17. So in 18, the Commercial Association of Realtors Wisconsin started a new database in conjunction with Ready Comps and Catalyst. There's over 6,000 commercial properties in Waukesha County. We have access to all that data. I've spent, part of my life previously as a broker. I spent part of my life as a developer. I understand that milieu. So people will call us and they'll say, I'm looking for 30,000 square feet of manufacturing space, 18-foot clear, sprinklered, 2 truck docks, and an overhead door. We'll do a search.
Do you that information then? So are you, Dave, giving him the information of all our open businesses, or?
Doesn't the bid have that?
Doesn't the bid
The
do
bid,
Downtown.
does the bid do that? I mean,
Downtown. If he and I have exchanged information before
Yes.
on specific projects, when
Yes.
someone's been looking
Yes.
at
It-
something that we might fit.
All of the brokers, all the commercial real estate brokers, there's about 600 of them in the metropolitan area. All of the developers, most of the property managers feed into this system. What the exception you'll find is smaller owners who have 1 building or 2 buildings who choose not to work with brokers. You have to go find that information, and one of the things we do is find that information and load it. There's 2,000 industrial buildings in Waukesha County. There's 900 office buildings. There's 16 or 1,800 retail buildings. You couldn't keep track of it with anything other than this database. We'll do searches for people based on a geographic area they want to look at or the type of property they want to look at. Where we've got a real challenge is that we've got 84 million square feet of industrial space. Right now, we're running at about a 2.5% vacancy. And when you look at modern buildings like you have in the corporate park here, with good clear height and robust sprinkler systems, you're running about 1.5% vacancy. So you may have seen that every time somebody starts one of those big buildings these days, essentially at the time of the groundbreaking, the building is already spoken for. So we've been working, and it's one of the things I've met with David on a couple of times is, can we find more land? It's a real challenge. You folks, you're in a very tight market here, and there's not a lot of space available.
Let me ask you one quick question. Now, like if you go to the schools or like seniors, if I want a job or some young lady wants a job, can you say I want to be an engineer or work in a machine shop? Can I go to you and you ask for some company that's looking for somebody to train? Do you do that, or is that out of your? You know what I meant? Getting at?
Absolutely. So I'll speak to Arrowhead. We have relationships with your superintendent, your CTE coordinators, all the way down to your counselors. So it does happen that the instructors are reaching out to the Center for Growth or Business Alliance, whichever hat I really have on at that time, doesn't matter. And they're saying, hey, you know what, Mr. Landwehr is interested in engineering. He likes mechanical engineering. Can you help me connect him? And the first thing I'm going to do is say, what's his age? Has he already chosen his career pathway afterwards? Meaning, what's his next step? Is he going to WCTC? Is he going to MSOE? What's he doing? And then I'm going to pick up the phone and probably call Price. It's an easy one for me to call here. I'm going to call United Press. I'm going to call one of the manufacturers in the area and say, hey, I've got a live one from Arrowhead, and they want to help. They want to work. Happens all the time. That's a great question, and it's connecting them, and it's a win-win. It's kind of nice for me to see, actually.
Well, that's what I was, because a lot of these kids or
Well, and
adults now, they want to find a job and they don't know where to start and whatever they want to do. Could they call them and say,
absolutely.
you
And the
gotta-
schools know that, and the schools utilize that. So I think I briefly talked about it last year. I'm happy to have one-on-one conversations so we don't continue to take up too much time. But you know that the governor in 2012 came forth with his State of a State address, and then he came back with it in 2014, and then 15 started implementing something called Academic and Career Planning, ACP. It's a mandated act that all students between 6th and 12th grade will participate in career life skills. You'll actually see in the annual report, the last page, you'll see that the Center for Growth was working with school districts to help measure those skills. So because of that, all of those instructors at Arrowhead and any other high school, private and public, are reaching out to us because they're trying to connect students to career exposure and then career experiences. And it's not always a youth apprenticeship program, right? They might not want to do dual enrollment. They might not want to do youth apprenticeship. They might actually just want to go work on the weekends, and we get that. So it's kind of nice to see that the school districts are getting involved in it as well, and that they're utilizing the services, and we're able to connect them with the businesses.
Yeah, 'cause
Good
the
question.
Kids are looking for jobs, and there's businesses looking for people, and so
Yeah.
you fix them up.
It's just
or
thinking about
come
workforce a
together.
little differently, like Tim said. I mean, when you're talking about a 2.8 unemployment for our county, we got to think a little differently. And we got to be really creative. And so, yeah.
Well, you talked about tight budgets. I mean, we have a very tight budget, and I guess I would like to see what value. I want you to put a value on what you're bringing into my village before I ask these guys to come and, hey, let's put in an extra $20 or so to do this. Benefit. I mean, I would just like to hear that. Or, what have we had? Outside of, the county. I hear county, and I hear Sussex and Berlin and all these places, but little Hartland here, we're just a little teeny community. I just, that's what my concern is.
Well, like I say, we've met with a number of businesses in Hartland. I'll get back to you on after I have a chance to talk with Lucy about what the results were with the 7 small business clients that she met with last year. I mentioned the several that I've met with. I'd encourage you to ask Arrowhead if they find value in the relationship with the Center for Growth and all the things we do in terms of career exposure for their students and all the opportunities that we help identify for their students to get into the workforce. Transit, I want to come back to your point about that. That's a tough nut. I'm going to tell you, it's a very tough nut. The Milwaukee County Transit System is a grid system that, serves Milwaukee County well. It only comes out to Waukesha County in a handful of places. And it's very difficult. There's not enough funding in southeastern Wisconsin and in Wisconsin for transit. There are a lot of folks who don't believe in funding transit, don't support funding transit, much less roads. We don't have enough money for the roads that we've got currently. And that's a tough one. I'm not going to tell you anything different than that. The city of Waukesha system, the metro system, is a pulse system. Everything starts downtown. The routes go out in 8 or 10 or 12 different directions. If you're going from this side of town to this side of town, you go downtown, you transfer, you get on that one. It serves the city of Waukesha and the immediate environs. So when we start talking about transit and getting people in big numbers to the farther away you get from the central part of Waukesha or from Milwaukee County, the more difficult it is to do, the lower density and pattern of development you have, and we have a region that historically has not funded transit the way some other regions do. It's something we continue to meet on and work on and talk about with people like the regional transit leadership, but there are no easy answers there. The Joseph project is one of the things that a number of manufacturers said, wait a minute, this project works. Because you bring us pre-qualified people that you've done some soft skill training with. You get them here in a van, they show up for work every day. You've taught them the things they need to know to be able to be productive in our business when they walk in the door, and they're into the van picks them up at the end of the workday. So that's something I think we can continue to work on. Labor force is tight, space is tight. We will call the chamber tomorrow and offer to come out and meet with their next membership meeting, as we've done with Lake Country Rotary in a couple of instances. And we hope to continue to work with you in the future.
Anyone else got anything? Questions?
Table it until we get
You got-
the answers we're looking for.
What do you want? Or what did you, I'm sorry. Floor is yours.
I'm just wondering rather than making a motion today to approve that money to get the answers that Mike had asked for.
Sure, and we don't have to make a motion today.
Okay.
We can't, it was a consideration of a possible motion, but definitely the presentation, but we can wait on that. And maybe it wouldn't be a
Fine.
bad idea on our end also to get you in touch with our bid, because sometimes they
Yeah.
have, certain, those are very small spaces. but
Right.
Open, but maybe there's someone looking for some, so.
Yeah, the bid in the chamber would be a good
Right,
connection.
so you guys wanna, So we've accepted the presentation. We actually, I don't believe, have to take any action if we're gonna wait for those answers, correct? And then we drop back up.
My internet.
All right, if you wanna send, you're gonna look into that?
Yep, and I'll get back to you and,
If you wanna send them to Dave, or if you wanna copy me in, or however you wanna
Sure.
do it, or if you wanna send it to each trustee or trustee Myers, however you wanna do it, but that'd be great, and then, maybe we'll kinda circle back on
They
it.
can break it up.
sounds good.
Does that work?
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Look
very
forward
much.
to working with you.
Thank you.
Do we need to table it?
No, I wouldn't table it.
We don't have to table it,
Don't
we just
do
bring it back
nothing.
up, we'll put it on the
Table,
agenda.
it gets complicated.
It was a presentation and possible action,
That's
just
right.
not taking
Okay.
action, just waiting for answers.
Just bring it up again.
So, thank you very much, again. Next item on the agenda is, first reading of a bill for an ordinance 01282019, an ordinance to amend Article 2 of Chapter 86 of the Village of Hartland Municipal Code to water utility and wells. Well, hello, sir.
Hello. So what we want to do is we want to change our cross-connection ordinance. The one we had in place was outdated. It referred to as a water commission yet. Everything reports back to a water commission. We no longer had a water commission. It's been gone for years. And it also doesn't, the old one doesn't, it's not clear on how we address selling water outside the village. There are a few places where we already sell water outside the village, which is Hartland Arrowhead, and we know schools. So as of now, if they had a cross-connection issue, it'd be a mess. We couldn't go and turn their water off if there was an emergency.
Okay.
So in this new ordinance, which we are adopting through HydroCorp, ourselves, and village staff sat down with this ordinance, and we changed some things on there. We'd like to change the whole ordinance and adopt the new one, which you all should have.
Okay.
Does that ordinance consider the tanker trucks that come here and fill up? Wouldn't that be the same? What's the difference between a tanker truck filling up and an Arrowhead and Weno?
The tanker trucks are, we supply the backflow protection on that hydrant, and we get that backflow protection certified every year. This is more, for instance, like when they have the automatic soap dispensers, we have the right to go in there and inspect that, and if they don't oblige by it, and there's some kind of connection failure, we would have to get the board approval or some kind of approval to just disconnect them. Now, under this new ordinance, we can just disconnect them.
So it's more the connection more than stoppage.
Right.
Okay.
See, Swallows is on too, isn't it?
Swallow School is correct,
You're
yes.
Arrowhead. Right.
Swallows in the village, though.
Swallows in the village.
No.
Swallows.
We,
not
we
the
supply
village?
water and
Oh, I'm
sewer to
sorry.
them.
Yeah.
Well, it's surrounded by the village.
They're not, unless they
No,
got
they're-
in on the same way, but.
No, they're one of the islands, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no incentive, it's tax.
Right. Oh, yeah, good point, thank you.
Yeah,
Good
we
point.
went through that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. They can have the tax-free stuff, or the no generating.
So this would be just your first reading, as Dave points out. It's, the intent is to just delete and replace the entire section, just to modernize all of the language, as he mentioned. It makes more generic the reference to our water system, and basically, as you can see in the language, anybody who's connected to our potable water system is covered. So whether they're outside the corporate limits, inside the corporate limits, whoever's got our water, they're covered by this ordinance.
It makes sense.
Good.
So that's the first
Glad you
reading.
caught that.
Any other questions on the first reading? No? Thank you, Mr. Buckner. The next item that we have on the agenda
Are there other stuff?
are items that were referred
Commission stuff on it?
from the January 21st Plan Commission meeting. Consideration of a motion to approve construction of a lift station at 120 Crystal Drive in Lake Country Meadows subdivision. I will say that was quite entertaining at the Plan Commission meeting. I kind of made it look like a circus for a minute, but that's okay. We got it done the way I was hoping that it would come out.
So the homeowners association had a couple questions on this lift station that we're gonna build. Because inside of this building that we're gonna construct, as you know, it's gonna be the controls to run the lift station, and there's also gonna be a backup generator. Their question was, how many decibels was this generator gonna produce? Because we're gonna run this generator under load for a half hour once a week. And it's gonna be run at 9 AM on a Wednesday. We run them all just to keep them all configured the same way. And this new generator will put out 69 decibels. And that's inside, that's the generator itself, but now you're putting it inside the building, so it'll even be less. And if you compare decibels, like a sound of a shower is 70 decibels. So this will be less than listening to a shower, for God's sakes.
Yep.
So with all these emissions on this generator, I don't think that's a big concern. There's one other, they had another question about the fascia on the building, which where the gutters connect. We were gonna put it in aluminum, and their homeowners association building codes say that has to be natural. So we're gonna use we changed that to a smart board in the planning commission. And there was one other thing that they were concerned about was the landscape plan. And we revised that, and what we're gonna do is the adjacent homeowner is going to, once the building's constructed, he's gonna give his priority where he wants to plant these trees, so it's not an eyesore for him.
Randy, do you have a question?
Is the smart board
Sorry.
that plastic wood?
It's
It
wood,
looks like wood.
it's
It's
wood
engineered.
with, mixed in with wax.
Wax.
Yeah, so it doesn't rot. And then they bleed in the color so you don't have to paint it. It's embedded
It's a
into
whole
it.
new ballgame in construction now.
To answer your question, it is not the plastic wood that, for example, we have on the bridge.
Right.
It is a completely different product.
Okay.
It does look
Yeah,
very
it's all wood
natural.
fibers.
Go ahead,
Thank
sorry
you.
for interrupting, I just.
That's all I
So
have.
also, I want to throw in that at the plan commission meeting, just so that everybody knows, from a communication standpoint, the president, or the person saying he was the president of that homeowners association, was at the meeting. I wanted to make sure we, not just we on the plan commission and the people there, wanted to make sure everybody knew. The village did send out a notice to everybody within 600 feet of that location. Furthermore, now we've gotten the answers to all the questions that were asked. I myself contacted three people that live in that subdivision to find out if that homeowners association president did in fact email everybody, and based on what I got back, he did email back everybody. I also made sure to tell those people the reason, how close we came, and the
Right.
reason, and based that we're putting this lift station in, and based on how many people you can see here, I think that we are good to go.
And we did offer to give a presentation of their homeowners
Yep.
association meeting.
And we let them know they could be here, and it's okay that they're not here, that's nothing bad on them, but I think it shows that they're trusting that we're making the right decision.
The cost of the building?
250, somewhere right in there. I don't know if that 250 with the generator, does that include
Yes,
the
correct.
generator?
That's correct.
Project cost 250, about, give or take. 250,000, not
Correct.
250.
No,
Correct.
we're talking about, that's the one on Lisbon Avenue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, that's the
When I
one we
looked
brought
at
to the
that, I
board,
thought-
but then we had to go through the planning commission process.
So do we need
A motion.
a motion to approve?
oh,
Kristen?
absolutely.
I
Can I-
motion,
Oh, good,
I motion to approve the construction of the lift station.
good, Kristen. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve construction of the lift station. For discussion, I want to ask, you just said project, I just want to clarify, our approval of this would include the purchase of the equipment, the generator, all that has to go into it, is that correct?
That'll go out to bid, so you'll see that part of it
Yeah.
again, but you're basically authorizing
Just the building right
the
now?
appearance,
Okay.
the bidding of the project, and moving it forward.
Okay. That's what I
So
wanted
we're
to
just-
ask, just so we all know.
We're just updating that one on Lisbon Avenue, or replacing it, really.
Brand new. It's outdoor right now. We're gonna have a cover, a shelter.
Yeah, but I mean, that isn't the one that's down on Lisbon Avenue, no, that's what
Yeah.
I was asking.
It's behind a wall, it's all of it right now, all that's there is a metal cabinet,
Yeah.
and there's no backup generator.
So we're replacing that or adding that, or?
They're actually building a lift
That's what I
station
was
building.
And we're replacing all the controls for
putting
the lift
the
station.
building
Yeah, just like the one over in Four Winds West.
Correct.
25 to 30 years on the generator. The controls should last forever.
That's been there about 20 years.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Any other questions, new questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a consideration of a motion to approve an extraterritorial certified survey map in the town of Delafield.
Yeah.
Quick recap.
So, yeah, certainly, as the information indicates, this is in the town of Delafield. We have extraterritorial plat approval out in that area. That is that the village, because it's an incorporated municipality, has the ability to approve or disapprove of these kinds of divisions. In this case, you have two adjacent property owners that are basically swapping portions of their properties. I don't know what the purpose is. It gives somebody one lot that's about 45 feet larger than it was before this. Mock's next to us because it's too far away to be annexed. It's on the other side of other incorporated parcels, as you can see from the location map that was included in the packet. Too far away from the village corporate limits for us to really be concerned. Plan Commission did recommend approval.
So I recommend that we approve the extraterritorial agreement.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Granted. Passes. 7-0.
We will let them know.
Other items for consideration. We have a consideration of a motion to approve the job description. Sorry,
You missed Kiefer.
sorry. I'm sorry, I marked it too early. I flipped my page and screwed the whole thing up. To everybody here, my apologies. Consideration of a motion to approve, I'm sorry. Consideration of a motion to approve a final plat for Kiefer Farm subdivision in the town of Merton. Did we already do this once?
This has been to the village board in the past. It was tabled actually because there were some issues that were still being addressed. So this was in front of the village late last year. And those matters have been addressed now. So Kiefer Farms, for those of you, as a reminder, is on Campus Drive, which is adjacent to, and this parcel is north of the Lake Country Lutheran High School. The property is on the east side. That's basically a large open field right now. It's in the town of Merton. It would be served by roads from the town of Merton. It would not be connected to Campus Drive. In fact, that's one of the conditions that the village placed on the preliminary plat, and that carries through as a continuing, essentially, condition in the final plat. So this, I beg your pardon? It is. It is, right. It is septic and well, if that's what you meant to ask me.
Septic, yeah. It's up against our park.
I think that this has been, we've addressed this for the most part.
Yep, so
But if there's
the
any
Plan
questions-
Commission has recommended approval with 4 conditions in this case, since these have been orally communicated to the town, just so they're aware. But the first condition was that the farm access drive that exists between this parcel and Campus Drive should be removed. And then there is 3 requirements requesting copies of items related to the stormwater management, and that is an updated stormwater management plan to the village, the stormwater maintenance agreement copied to the village, and the as-built drawings. Because ultimately, the stormwater from here that actually leaves the site after development will run down Campus Drive in the village. But based on the engineer's review of the material that's been presented by the developer, the water situation on Campus Drive changes dramatically. About 90% of the water will stay on site now.
Oh, so I mean, that'll still go in, we've got a water contention there now, by the park or someplace.
At the very north end of Campus
Yeah,
Drive, we have
yeah.
a stormwater pond, but
Yep, that won't affect that.
it will not. In fact, that pond will have excess capacity now, if you will, because of the fact that this water won't go that way.
And
Most
they
of
aren't
this
gonna
water.
be able to, if I read that right, they gotta use Anderson to get out of that subdivision. They're not coming out on campus.
Correct. They will not come out on campus. They have to go back through by Arrowhead, essentially.
Yeah, that's it, Anderson, yeah.
I think it's Arrowhead Drive.
Any other questions?
Some other name. So it is recommended for approval by the Plan Commission with those 4 conditions.
I so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to to approve this with the conditions listed. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Next, we have a sparkly item on the agenda, consideration of a motion to, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm just off. I was even trying to be funny and now I look like a fool. Consideration of a motion to approve the job description for the positions of camp counselor, assistant counselor, and head coordinator in the recreation department. I'm sorry. I'm
Hi,
just
that's
one
okay.
off.
Hi,
I'm
guys.
just-
Good
It's been
good
kind of
evening.
snowy and went to my brain.
In your packet, you received 3 job descriptions that Dave and myself put together, and we also shared it with our camp coordinator for her review to ensure we covered all the areas and all the skills that we require for 3 different positions. Prior to this, we did not have job descriptions. One of the goals was to have a job description for each position that we have at camp, so there is clear communication of what everybody's jobs responsibilities are for.
Okay.
Any questions on them?
Kelly, what was the one change that we did make?
The one
This was
change we
held
made
over.
was for the assistant counselor, we had the age of 21. We changed it to 18 per the request of the camp coordinator. We wanted to open the opportunity for staff who is 18 and older to have the opportunity to be the assistant counselor. That was the only change that was.
And I had one question also I just wanted to ask, and I'm sorry that I didn't email this to you.
Sure.
You know, in the back of the budget book, I know you will know, Ryan would know, we have those scales. Is this position, the part-time position we've created, will that end up falling into a scale? Like, will it end up being listed at some point in our book, or is that not? It's just something I wanted to throw out. I know there's a lot of different positions that are listed in there.
It will. So there's a page that's the regular positions of the village, and then there is behind that a page that's the seasonal positions of the village. Management staff has been kind of working on the seasonal piece to adjust that so that it more accurately reflects the seasonal staff that we have and more accurately reflects what we believe are pay rates that we're going to have to be putting out there. And so that'll come back to you as a different looking form, maybe sometime this year, but certainly it'll be different in the next village budget. The other part of the question is that we've now, as part of this, made the coordinator position a regular position. That is, it's not full-time, of course, it's still part-time, but it's a regular position in that it is no longer seasonal. That person remains employed by the village year-round because there's so much off-season activity. And that position, yes, President Vanderstill, will get then listed in there to show what range it's in.
Perfect.
Any other
That's all those
questions in regards to the job descriptions?
Well, I'd entertain a motion.
I so moved it. Descriptions for the summer program.
I seconded it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the job descriptions for the various positions as listed.
You look at me, I got no objection.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And I'm sorry for missing the item.
That's okay. I'm actually gonna see after the fireworks
Yep.
too, so.
The next item on the agenda, thank you, this will get me right on track because you said that, is the sparkly item of consideration of a motion to approve a contract with Five Star Fireworks Company in Oconomowoc in the amount of $16,000 for the 2019 fireworks display. I do have a question before someone makes a motion. Or either or, but.
All right,
I-
Five Star Fireworks. We used them for the last several years. $16,000 was the price for last year, as it is for this year. They are going to have a little different show, different shells they call it, to bring in. I've been very happy working with them. The fireworks is going to be scheduled for Friday, June 28th. The rain date, we already have it for Saturday, June 29th.
Okay. I had a question. Remember it wasn't last year, it was the year before that we had our 125th, that kind
Yes.
of. And remember, we had put a little extra, well, it
1,000
wasn't, I
more,
shouldn't call it a little, but we put
17,000.
extra in there,
Yep.
yeah, but it was, I mean, the show was always awesome, but it was, I mean, we got a lot accomplished on
Yeah.
it. Is there any way that we could take that step up at this? Are we too late if we were to have you talk to them to say, we want to have a little bit better show?
If the money's there, I'm sure it's no problem.
I think it's worth it to our community.
I'm sure I can tell if the
But
money's
obviously I would have to
there.
have board approval. And I'm sorry that I didn't also email this. I remember how many compliments we got it, and I think that for the,
Every year.
huh?
We get compliments every year.
Right.
Yeah,
you guys
That
are
year
getting
was,
the
I mean, it
show.
just went on and on. So it's
How
just a
much-
thought I was throwing
How
out to the
much more
board.
you wanna put in?
I was thinking
I mean, you
2,000, but
So
depending on what you
18,000?
could come in, yeah, if they could
What did
do
we
that.
do that year? You
He,
have any idea?
They
You
went
did
up
17,000 that year.
It was 17,000, and he added more extra shells. It was pretty much like the Big Bang. The end was
It was
non-stop.
insane.
You couldn't even hear.
It was cool. It was. It's crazy.
He just added more shells. He added more shells at the end. Like he really was like, I'm going to give you a Big Bang for the 125th
That would have been
anniversary.
2017. And if I recollect, you're right, Kelly, I think he did two things. I think he added I'll call it an intermediate flourish. He added some flourish sort of
yeah.
in the middle of the show, and then extended the finale quite a bit, actually,
Yeah.
that year.
And Kelly, do you think he did that partly because it was a special occasion for us and because we've been working with
I think
them?
he likes
And-
working with us.
Yeah, so he
I
added
do.
a bit more, and I think we got a lot for $1,000.
Well, he, like Dave said, previous years it was always 15, and that year he approached me and said, "Could we go up to 16?" Or actually, yeah, 16, and well, he wanted like 17, and I said, "No, what about 16?" He's like, "Well, if we do 17, we can do 125th anniversary." And then we came to the board and presented that, and they approved. And I think he did probably throw a little extra in there for us, because that's how he is. And
Well, then you can tell them we're going to re-celebrate 120.
Jeff, you know, if you go up, you can't go back down.
You always could.
Well, I know, but you know, it's kind of hard.
We don't have to
To
approve
be
that. I
honest,
was
we
just
did last
asking.
year.
I think it's appropriate to continue to go.
We-
I like it. I
we
think it's
asked
worth it.
a
It's
little
the one.
more for the
There's not many
anniversary.
things that
We
we have
made
that
it
are
a
just
point to
huge,
say-
and that is huge.
Yeah, that's
And I
right,
think
Brian.
that this year's, I have a feeling that this year's hometown celebration is going to be one people will remember for a very long time.
Wow.
We'll put 1,000
want
into
to-
it if you want.
It would be okay if the board wanted to approve,
Yeah.
to authorize up to 17, and Kelly can work with
I
them.
can ask him
Or
what.
up to 18, whatever.
Why are you trimming?
I apologize,
Why are you trimming?
sorry.
You know, you
I don't
put it
know
up
why
to
you want.
I would
18,
like to
Brad.
make a motion, unless someone is against me bringing this up, but we don't have a motion, do we?
No,
I would
you
like to make a motion to approve up to 18. Hopefully you can get as much out of this guy for the
I
extra
will. You know what?
2,000.
I will
mean, shake
email.
him down.
I will talk to him tomorrow and say, "You remember that 2017 show?"
Yep.
And I'll talk to him.
Match it and throw a couple more shells in there.
If you
right.
give him 17, he'll do it for 17. So if you say, how about 18?
That's, I just think it's a beautiful thing in the village.
I'll second that. Or
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I don't know why you want to do that.
Take care going home. No, I think we've had nothing but good reports on that firework.
You'll let me know. All right, at this time, we have announcements. Who wants to go first? If you please just approach the podium and get ready to speak.
I would just like to give a shout out to the DPW crew they've been in plow trucks since last Tuesday.
Yep,
And
we're doing good.
I also would like to tell residents, if you do have a fire hydrant in your yard, please shovel them out. It'll definitely help the fire department if needed.
Yep,
So.
okay.
How deep I looked at mine today, now how deep can it be before we have to shovel? You still see that little thing up there?
You should be able
Now
to see
the-
the grass around it.
The nozzles, I think the wrenches are 18 inches, so it'd be nice to get 18 inches below the cap.
Okay,
Just shovel right down until you see the tips of the grass.
okay.
Absolutely perfect.
And then 4 feet around the whole thing.
4 feet around it? Anybody who wants to come to my house and help me shovel?
They do it
All right.
around.
We're gonna start going around tomorrow to start clearing them out, but if any help would be greatly appreciated.
Okay,
Yep.
So you can get up
Text
to it,
me.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know.
What's that?
Text me.
I shall.
Any other note?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief?
I've got a couple things.
Fire chief?
Hey, well, you took my seat. You stole my thunder on the hydrants. 3x3 is great. Just a couple of quick things. Wednesday evening, if it's not too cold, the Honor Flight is having a spaghetti dinner fundraiser at Arrowhead. It's always a great time from 5 to 7. And if it is too cold and you let me know ahead of time, I will be happy to valet your car for you. I would do that just for you and any one of our 7 listeners out there. We'd be happy to let them know
Let
that.
you drive our car?
I would. Well, I wouldn't get it stuck either. And then just a reminder to all residents, with this cold weather and with the extra snow that we have, please double check that your carbon monoxide detector is working. You should have one on every level of your home or business that has a fossil fuel burning furnace or appliance. We had a case over the weekend. We transported four residents from the same establishment to St. Luke's Hyperbaric Chamber for carbon monoxide poisoning. So check your furnaces, make sure they're operating correctly. Check outside where your inlet vents and your outlet vents, exhaust vents are located to make sure the snow is not clogging them up. And remember, carbon monoxide is called the silent killer because it does not have an odor and it does not have a taste. So
You might want to,
depend on your detectors to notify you and take some prevention with getting your services done to your furnace.
to add to that, Dave, a lot of people aren't familiar with how their furnace actually works. So the vents are usually on the outside of the house, 18 to 24 inches above ground level. They're PVC, and one turns down, one usually goes out straight. Make sure that the snow is away from the vents a good 2 feet. If you can shovel down to the ground and then around, that's the best.
Absolutely, you bet. Keep that area clear. And a lot of times over the summer, it's a great area for wasps to build their nests. So make sure those are cleaned out and operating properly. And we'll see you Wednesday night having some spaghetti, have some talks with some veterans at Arrowhead, and there's a presentation there as well and some raffle items. Come and have some spaghetti, check your carbon monoxide detector, and shovel your hydrants.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other announcements?
My best.
Chief?
Just got one quick thing. I know I've been letting the board know about our reaccreditation process. We actually met with the Wiley board on not last Friday, but the Friday before, and they anonymously approved our reaccreditation. So we are officially a reaccredited agency, and we'll go through the process again in 3 years. A rep from their board will be coming to make a presentation here to the village board on the second meeting in February. So we will get recognized in front of the board for those efforts.
Awesome.
So you're
That's great.
you're a qualified department now, huh?
Yep, best practices are up to date on our policies, and I actually just attended a new chiefs training that was put on and funded through the Wisconsin Department of Justice last week in Madison. 30 of the 72 sheriffs are newly elected and were in attendance at the training, and then there was about approximately another 45 chiefs that are brand new throughout the state of Wisconsin. It was the largest new chiefs and sheriffs class the Department of Justice ever put on. It was a great networking event, and I will tell you, we are definitely leaps and bounds ahead of most police departments and sheriff's offices throughout the state. And
Awesome.
I'm planning on keeping it that way.
Good.
Great.
Good. I kind of got something that I want to throw while you're there, Chief. One thing I got some complaints. Seems to be a recurring problem. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's other areas in the village, and I'm not sure how we usually handle this. Obviously, we don't want to be sticklers or be rude or come off like we're being that nitpicky, but I have gotten a complaint on East Capitol Drive, from that triangle intersection where East Capitol and Lisbon meet.
Yep.
Down towards Terrace Ave, I have got some complaints that I don't even know which addresses, but some of the same homes continually are not shoveling, and people that are walking on those sidewalks are having a very difficult time doing so. I'm not sure exactly how we address that. I know that's a
No,
really
we can definitely pay
nitpicky one,
attention
but
to that.
if
We
all of
do
a
have-
sudden we see that there's, a bunch of snow, I don't know, maybe a knock on the door. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it, I'm just letting you know what's occurring, but I wanna pass it on for that resident, because we've been getting a lot of snow, but at the same time, it just sometimes isn't being cleaned up by certain.
That's a great idea, because if you walk downtown,
There's quite a
there are about
few,
4 places that you never shovel.
but the last thing I know that they would wanna do is get out of the car to take care of that kind of thing. I'm not sure exactly what we do about it, but for everybody out there, you do only get 24 hours to clear your walkway, because we do want people, I mean, we spend the money to have the walkways, we want people to be able to walk on them. I don't know what to tell you. If you cannot shovel and you can't get a neighbor to do it, I guess you could call. We can try to help, or find somebody from somewhere, a kid or something that wants to go and shovel it for you. We'll try to work together, but at least let us know if you really can't get it shoveled, because I don't want to waste your time either.
And that is definitely part of our job. Probably one of our biggest complaints when it comes to snow is the sidewalks, and then also plowing the snow into the roadways. So
Yep. Okay.
two things, if we can limit those, that would obviously help, but we
Yep.
do pay attention for that, and
Sure.
I will let the officers know to keep an eye on that area within that 24-hour time period.
Awesome.
I've got another one.
Thank you.
Maybe you could mention to people too, the snowplow drivers that maybe are new snowplow drivers. You cannot take snow from your lot and push it onto another person's property.
Yes,
Just
you
plow
can.
all your snow
I
onto
saw
there.
some today.
You know, or plow your snow and leave the pile out in the middle of the road.
Right.
Yep, the
Yeah,
roadways
I've seen
is
that I don't
definitely
know
an
how many
issue.
times.
Yep.
Yep, and we work with the DPW pretty regularly on those issues with
Awesome.
snow on the road. I know we just dealt with one today in a cul-de-sac, and then the sidewalk issues. So those are regular occurrences, and we definitely will handle it.
All right.
It's not beneath us, so we will
Thank
be
you.
out there.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Can I touch on one more quick thing? Just wanted to say, I did get some complaints. This is a real quick announcement. I think this will help everybody, for those of you that are tuning in. Maybe there's even more of you since it's so cold out.
There's 8.
Well, that's double what we usually have, then we're good. But no, if your streetlights are out, most of the streetlights other than those right downtown, you can actually go onto the We Energies website, and you can even go to the streetlight. If you know the address or the address that's close, it'll show all the streetlights that are on that street, and you can let We Energies know which one is out, and they'll fix them typically within 72 hours. So I just learned something new in this past week. But if you ever have a streetlight out, you can take it upon yourself. You can call the village, but you can take it upon yourself to go to We Energies, type in the address, pick the streetlight, hit the problem, say it's out, come fix it, and they'll even email you back. So just letting you all know, go out and try it. You'll be able to see where all the streetlights are in the city, or in the
Well,
village.
I'm not up that late unless we have a meeting with.
Well, you don't have a computer or Wi-Fi, so I know that. You'll have to call into the village.
I go to bed
Go
when
ahead.
it starts.
One thing I'll mention with respect to snow, it's been wreaking havoc on Advanced Disposal's collection process. They notified us today that Hartland's collection will not occur until Wednesday of this week, and if Wednesday's as bad as it seems, it could be even worse than that. So I know I
Oh, I'm glad. I was
do
gonna-
not put your refuse out tomorrow, although I saw many cans out
Oh,
on the
yeah.
curb
They're out.
on my way in tonight, despite the
I was
fact
gonna
that it's
put money
been
out tonight.
on the village's website and on our social media feeds. But take a day. You got another day before your can will get collected at least. So Wednesday is the day for refuse collection.
Yep.
This week.
Good thing you brought that up. I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, that's on the village website, but I know you don't have
It's
Wi-Fi.
not on the television. No, everybody else is on channel 6. It's
Well,
only
with-
got a-
And I'd entertain. Hold on, sorry. I'm all messed up tonight. Something's wrong with me. More than usual.
I didn't see it.
Next item on the agenda. Consideration of a motion to recess to close session pursuant to state statutes 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and F, considering financial, medicinal, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data or specific persons, preliminary consideration of a specific personnel problems or investigation of charges against specific persons that, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect on the reputation of any person mentioned in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations regarding disputes filed involving a Village of Hartland board member and regarding the village administrator annual performance evaluation, and to adjourn thereafter without reconvening into open session pursuant to 19.95 section 2.
Did you read that?
Need a roll call.
I can, but
Read
you're,
that.
motion first.
You need a motion on this.
I know, I'm waiting.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
It's been moved and second to go into closed session pursuant to everything that I read originally on the motion. May I have a roll call vote for that, please?
Trustee Anson.
Aye.
Trustee Duro.
Aye.
Trustee Myers.
Aye.
Trustee Landwehr.
Aye.
Trustee Swenson.
Aye.
Trustee Wallschlager. President Vanderstel.
Aye. At this time, we will take about 5 minutes as we transfer into closed session, to allow people time to,